There's a few sort of unlicensed heroes like your Roy Shaws and Lenny McLean, and of course Norman Buckland. Did you have much interaction with Roy or Lenny? I know Norman was a very good friend of yours.
Yeah, as I was growing up, at the age of 13, 14, 15, I was quite tall for my age. At 13 I was 6'2", so I was getting into fights. I'd get little gangs having a go at me, and so I was always looking up to the fighters like Lenny McLean and Roy Shaw and Norman were the big names I used to hear about back then. So I got to know Roy, and Roy came to some of my fights. I've got some footage of Roy backstage with me. So yeah, Roy was a hero of mine, and I never met Lenny, but I know Lenny's family, and he was another person. I admire people that will fight by themselves. I don't admire people that gang up on people and all that stuff. I admire the Normans and the Lennys and that type of people that will fight a gang of people by themselves. You know, they won't get weapons out and stuff like that. So yeah, I did admire them, and yeah, Norman Buckland. Well, Norman was the man who introduced me to boxing when I was in Woodhill prison.
You know, why were you in prison at that time, and what was it like being in there?
So I ended up in prison in 1994. I was 18 years old, but I was big. I was 18.5 stone then, because I'd been weight training from the age of 13. Because I was getting into fights, people were starting fights with me because I was so tall. I had a man hit me in the face with a can of dog food when I was 13 outside a shop. Just cut me in the face with a can of dog food because I was tall, and just so I started training and got big. As I was getting bigger, I got noticed by a firm that were doing bits of work, and they asked me to join them up with them. So I was sort of muscle with them really, and I travelled over to Eastern Europe with them and did some work over there. I flew back, and then my boss was actually found shot dead in a car. The newspapers had it as a gangland execution, and this is allegedly what the newspapers were saying. This is their idea, that he was importing marijuana. But anyway, the day of the funeral, I had Interpol and CID and all the police came over to my dad's house looking for me. But it was the day of his funeral, so I said to my dad, just tell them to wait there and I'll come and talk to them. Because when we'd flown over together, I'd rented the apartment in my passport, so they knew that I was over with him. But the funeral went over, and the Interpol and that had left, so I never got to speak to him, and that was that.
What was it that you actually went inside for?
I was in prison at the age of 18 I was in a nightclub, and I was walking out, and I saw the doorman trying to throw my mate down the stairs. So I've gone over to try and intervene, and I've had a fight with the doorman. The police have come in and seen it and thrown me out. So I waited outside for the club to close, and as everyone was coming out, I went back into the club and laid into the doorman, and I punched the head doorman, and I remember seeing one of his molars flying out of his mouth. So I had a fight with the doorman. The police have come in, and I've had a fight with the police as well, and they've got me in a van, and it was alleged that I got out of the police station the following day and ended up in a fight with 9 or 10 blokes just around the corner from the police station, and I was arrested for a Section 18 wounding. It was apparently I had broken bones, and people were hit with wood and bits of metal apparently. So I did an ID parade on that one, and I walked away from that because I didn't get picked out. So that was that, and I had another fight in the same couple of months with some police officers again, who I thought were being a bit rough with someone I knew. So I jumped in and had to go at the police again and just laid into the police. So they reminded me because they said I was 3 violent crimes in the space of a couple of months.
You've always had this thing of like standing up against bullies and stuff. You're very much like got a kind of almost like a code, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly that, yeah. I don't like seeing people being ganged up on, or even if it's not my business. I've been in pubs before and I've seen a gang of people having a go at one person, and I've gone over, not even my business, and I've jumped in and had a fight with a gang of people because it looks like they're picking on this one person. So I've had that was from my childhood. That was, I've always had that.
What was it like actually, being in Woodhill? I mean, I've driven past that prison so many times. Charlie Bronson's been in there and everything else.
Charlie was there when we were there.
Yeah, and what's the sort of day-to-day like? Are you all heavily locked up? Do you get any free time? I mean, how is it?
I think it's different now, but I was in there in 1994 and it was almost brand new.
Yeah.
and it was Norman was in there, I was in there. Charlie Bronson was on the prison within the prison, but you could sometimes hear him.
Yeah.
And that's initially when Norman said to me, "Do you want to start boxing?" And back then you were allowed out quite a lot. You weren't allowed out yourselves, but we tried to get boxing gloves in, and they wouldn't let us have boxing gloves. So what we did, we wrapped like a couple of pairs of socks around our knuckles, me and Norman, and we'd go in the shower area and just basically fight, sparring, but it was like a fight. And that was my very first introduction to boxing. So I had no boxing club. It was literally me and Norman going toe to toe in the prison, which I'm eternally grateful for, because he is the man who basically started me off in boxing.
Hello guys, Stormy Norman here, Stormy Norman Buckland. As you know, I'm the governor. A short story about Matt Legg, how I met him. I used to know him down the gym in Wolverton when he was only a kid like. He was a powerful boy like, he used to train hard. I used to always shape up to him like, keep him on his toes. I used to shape up with the kids all the time. I said I couldn't now because they'd probably beat me up. But I'd done a bit of time. I was away in Woodhill, like, I deserved to be there. You know what I mean? They put me in the YP wing. They had a lot of trouble there with the YPs, and there was a lot of stabbings and everything was going down. So they asked me, the old cons and the screws asked me if I'd go in there and just keep the peace. So I went in there, woke up one morning, it was like the Green Mile. You know the big black fella, and the big muscly one, about 8 foot tall. Well, that's what Matt Legg was like compared to all the rest of the YPs. He come in 6'2" and about 19, 20 stone. He was massive like. And the screws come to me, said they said, "No, we got this fella coming." I said, "Well, what about him like? He's only a YP, I'll look after him." He said, "He's a bit more than a YP like." And I looked at him and I said, "Fuck me, where's he come from like?" He was a giant of a man like, but he was a lovely fella. He come from a good family, he had good friends around him. He should have never been in prison, but he had that streak, that fighting streak. And he had to be put right. And I could see if he never got put right in the right place, he'd end up in prison all the rest of his life, like, you know what I mean? He was a lovely kid, and he wanted to spar with me. I used to do the bare knuckle fighting with him. Sometimes we'd wrap socks around our hands. Other time, the YPs used to make a circle around us. And now and again for fun, I used to throw them at him, and he used to spar with them and that. And it was great fun. I met a few the other day. We was in Bedford, a boxing do like, and I met some of what used to be the YPs. They look like fucking middle-aged men now, with beards and stuff like that. And I think one of them brought a picture of Matt with the gloves like, of £200, £300, he get through it. But it was great. And they come over and spoke to me and that. And Matt was just a lovely fella. He didn't fear nothing. Now and again when I have to go onto another wing, A wing or for, you know, other wings like, mainly A wing I used to go on, like, I used to be lifers there. You know, they'd killed a few people or something like that. I used to take Matt with me, like, he was a big boy, just to mix in and learn things. And other times I used to go around the wings when there'd be a shooting outside or shootings, and two separate gangs used to come into the prison, like, I used to try and keep the peace between them, like, and keep the peace in the YP wing. And he was lovely. I loved Matt to pieces, like. I taught him how to fight. He was a bit special. He come out, he turned pro. He fought the best there was in the world, like, you know. He wasn't scared of nothing. He worries me because he's still got that thing in his eyes, like, I think he wants to carry on fighting, but he shouldn't box, like, you know. We're not professional, we're the world champions. Maybe a few, if he's going to fight, a few unlicensed fights, you know what I mean? But the man is the most nicest man I've ever met in my life. He's such a lovely fella, like, you know what I mean? And there's another bloke, Gary Furby was a lovely boy as well. And they deserve to be helped and taken places, like, you know what I mean? That's where he belongs. He belongs as a coach, a promoter, something in the boxing world, like, you know what I mean? He's the toughest boy I've ever met, the hardest hitter I've ever met. Towards the end, he put me in a place, like, when we was, he come down here to spar, like, and he'd already been sparring with Tyson Fury, yeah. He'd already been sparring with Tyson Fury. Come down here to spar with me. And after that, he told me he had to fight James Toney. So he was in the world class. I mean, he was sparring and fighting some of the best fighters, not only from now, but ever, of all times. Like Tyson Fury, he's going to be down in history as one of the greatest boxers ever. James Toney, and fuck me, I got knocked about. I didn't realise, you know what I mean? I developed a fantastic boxer. Rick English was there as well. He's a lovely fella. He's got a lovely woman now. He sorted his house out, his head out. Everything's going great for him. He just needs that chance now to move on. You know what I mean? In the film game or something like that. This man you can trust. I swear to God, 100%. He's honest. He's truthful. He's a lovely fella. You know what I mean? If there's anyone out there can give him a chance in the film business or a good career in the boxing game or something like that, I beg you and I plead you, I'll even clean your shoes. Give these boys a chance. God bless you and thank you.
I mean, I didn't find the prison, I didn't find it too...
Did you find it difficult? Did you have to stand up for yourself? Or
I had a few arguments in there with people, but it wasn't anything to really worry about. There was a few stabbings that I saw go on and I got involved. There was a few people with boiling water with sugar in, getting that thrown in their faces, and young offenders I think is a lot worse because all the youngsters have got something to prove.
Yes.
Whereas in the adult jail they're a lot more settled down, I think.
Is it sort of intimidating or frightening to be in a place like that, or can you handle it very easily?
At that time I was 18 and I was 18.5 stone, so I wasn't too worried. But I mean, it's not nice being locked up.
Yeah.
And I was only expecting I wasn't expecting long, so I wasn't too concerned about it. But it's one of them things. It's not nice. No, no one would want to be there. You're away from your family and your loved ones, and
And what's it like? You drive up to the gates. You've been in a prison van and everything. I mean, do you think, oh God, why did I end up here? Or what's the kind of thought process that goes through?
You just think to yourself, that's it. This is the last time. I'm not going to get involved in this again. And I've never been back. Actually, never been back. It's almost 30 years. I've never been back. I'm lucky that I haven't, but I've never been back. Yeah.
How do you look back upon that experience? Is it an experience that you think you're kind of glad that you had because you haven't then gone back, or would you have not liked to have undergone that? I'm
glad for the experience. Anything. I always take the positives out of anything, and me going to prison in 1994. There's a positive that I met Norman. I knew Norman anyway, but Norman encouraged me to box. So without that experience, I might never have boxed. Yeah. So I always take the positives.
So why did you have a kind of troubled? You didn't have a troubled childhood, but why did you end up getting involved in sort of street fights and everything else like that?
I think it was because of when I started the weight training to get strong to defend myself. I think because I got so big at such a young age. And I had a reputation for a bit. I wouldn't start a fight, but I'd get people offering me fights, and I just had that thing where I just always were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I'd get into fights, and I've had loads of street fights, a lot more street fights than I've had boxing matches, put it that way. Did you see yourself as being unlucky to have had that kind of a past? No, because I wanted to be a fighter. Yes. I wanted to be a fighter, but a fair fighter and not a bully, not a troublemaker. I wanted to fight for the right reasons, so if I help people out on the street and I have to have a fight, as long as I can justify what I'm doing, I was happy with it, and I did have a lot of fights, We did talk sort of briefly on the phone about that you had this kind of crime background. Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on that to the type of stuff that you got involved in without obviously... Criminating yourself. I was almost like a career criminal for most of my adult life, from 17 to maybe my early 30s almost, but on and off. But the boxing did really help pull me away. But I was involved in stuff like, as I said, with the man who I travelled to Europe with, who was found shot. I was involved in that, and then I was with him. And then I've done a lot of debt collecting. I've done a lot of mediating between people when there's trouble brewing, and they've asked me to help out. And I'd rather stop trouble than be part of causing trouble. So if I can get involved in a situation and everyone walks away happy, that's a better outcome for me. I don't want to get involved in and be like a bull in a china shop. It's always better to mediate, I find, and try and resolve it in a way that makes everyone happy. So
it's weird, isn't it? Because you've got this kind of code of being, very fair and non-bullying and, doing what the right thing is, but you're still involved in a kind of crime thing. It's kind of a weird thing to fit together.
It's a weird contradiction in a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of the people I know that are involved in crime or villains have got good morals.
They do, yeah.
I mean, a lot of the people, I trust them a lot more than certain politicians or people like that.
Absolutely.
So I think there is
never a truer word has been said, because most of the politicians, crooks, taking the money underhand, and this, that, and the other. And in my experience, a lot of the crime guys that I've met do have a lot of very decent morals, don't they?
Yeah.
It's kind of bizarre, but
especially the old time, the old fashioned. I mean, I feel like I'm quite old fashioned in how I am. And my dad brought me up, and my mum and my nan and granddad, with manners, politeness, respect, all the old school values.
Was there anything in the criminal past that you kind of regret, or do you regret the whole thing? Or are you quite happy that you experienced it because you stuck to the road that you wanted to?
I don't really regret anything, because the regret, I think, is a wasted emotion. Because everything I've done in my life has brought me to this point now, and I'm happy at this point. So everything good and bad that's happened, I've learned from, and it's brought me here. So I'm happy now with my life. I've got my 3 boys who I love, and 3 great kids. And I'm happy training people now and feeling fit and strong again. So no, I don't have any regrets really. Maybe I don't. No.
Was there? I know I'm pushing you a little bit on this. Was there a low point? What would you say that you're? I mean, you've obviously had some amazing highs with some of the fights and everything else like that. But was there a lowest point that you thought, I'm not going back to this? Or depression, or
Oh yeah. The lowest points would be, I mean, I used to be a bit of a party animal, so I'd drink and go out for 2-3 days, and I'd get on the drugs and stuff like that, which was a regular occurrence for me. If I go out and have a couple of drinks, inevitably I'll end up on a session. So they're the times when my mental health suffered and the depressions kicked in, and I've learned from that as well. But I've had some low times on that, and what I did with that, I stopped the drugs. I've stopped the drugs now 18 months, 2 years. I've stopped that, and I train. I get out in the fresh air, cold baths, eat good food, and just try and keep all those issues at bay, because a lot of people are suffering from depression.
Do you think it's something you could slip back into?
Quite easily, yeah.
Yeah.
If I have a drink now, I tend to have a couple of glasses of wine and try and stay away from the pubs in Milton Keynes, because someone will see me and we'll get on a drink, and with 2 or 3 drinks in, someone will offer me something in the toilet, and if I've had a few drinks, my willpower's gone down, and I'll probably get on it. And next thing, it's 2 days later, because I'm either all or nothing. I'm either really healthy and training well, or I'll go the other way, and I'm off the rails.
What would you say to people who suffer from kind of mental health issues? Have you got any advice for them?
I would say what I find's helped me is look forward to something the night before, look forward to something the following day, no matter how small it is, going for a walk, going for a bit of exercise, anything like that. And also you've got to train, get out in the fresh air, eat good food, stay away from drinking drugs is one of the big ones, because that really is detrimental to your mental health. Just have good people around you, don't have negative people around you.
That's important, isn't it? Sometimes the other people can bring you right down, can't they?
Stay positive. Yeah, stay positive. Do positive things. I've got another thing as well. There's a lot of negative people on YouTube, and there's a lot of people that thrive on the trolling and the negative comments. I was brought up with the old saying, if you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Because it's better to make someone feel happy, I believe, than to put someone down. But you get a lot of people that enjoy that side of things. They enjoy. I mean, a lot of my friends get trolled and get negative comments. I've had it before as well. But to me, I'm not interested in their opinion, because I don't know who they are. It's pointless. It's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
All I care about is my peers, my friends, and the people that I respect. That's their opinions I count on. But the trolls and the negative people, just ignore them and just focus on positivity and your own well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that you do now, you do these one-to-one sessions for gym sessions or fight sessions and stuff. Tell us about that, because obviously if you want a perfect guide to go up in the ring and train you, and he's sitting there in front of me now. So tell us about that.
Yes, I'm doing boxing sessions now, one-to-one sessions, or even little group sessions, training people, either self-defence or to fight, just to get fit even.
So if people want to contact you to get involved, how would they do it? Through Facebook or?
Yeah, Facebook, you can contact me for this, yeah.
So it's well worth doing, folks. You want to get yourself fit, there's the man.
Hello, my name is Joe Egan. I just want to say a few words about my very good friend Matt Legg. I met Matt over 20 years ago, and there was an instant friendship. We both boxed. I'm an ex-boxer. Matt at the time was a current boxer. I followed his career. I watched him box many times, and it was always a privilege and a pleasure to be in a man's company and to watch him fight, because Matt could fight. 2 losses, one against the former world champion James Toney, and one against the future world champion Anthony Joshua. No shame to lose to either of them men, and on both occasions Matt was given a great account of himself against 2 very, very experienced and very skilled fighters. Matt had an abundance of courage, and that's something you're born with. You can't be given courage. You can be given skills and taught skills. You can't be given courage. You either got courage or you haven't. And Matt Legg, you're an abundance of courage. And one more thing, I'm glad you're on my side, Matt.
Matt actually also has another talent. He, as an actor, I think underused as an actor. So all of these, low budget or the gangster films or anything else like that, Matt really should be really in there, I think. So tell us, but you did appear sort of briefly in Bronson, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I did a couple of films. I've actually had acting lessons after I finished doing the acting, little bits of acting. I did three terms at MK Theatre because I do love the acting, but the films I've done, I wasn't a trained actor at the beginning, but I did very small bit in Bronson. You blink and you'll miss it, but it's in the cell with Tom Hardy. Yeah. I've been in a little tiny bit in Killer Bitch.
Yeah. One of my low budget efforts. Yeah, but he was very good in it. Yeah.
I've been in a series with Martin Kemp and one with Robert Lindsay, just as a boxer. Ricky English got us into those, but little bits like that.
So all you producers out there, you should get Matt in, because like his mate Joe Egan, who's made a great career in the films after doing the boxing, Matt, you should really be doing the same.
Thank you, I appreciate that then.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do love it,
Yeah, no, you're very good. And what was Tom Hardy like?
Tom Hardy, I've spent time with Tom. I met Tom through Charlie Bronson. Charlie asked us to go down to the Blind Beggar to check out the new actor who was playing him. This is back in 2007. So we all went down to London and met Tom, and I got to know Tom and spent a bit of time with him. Yeah, he's one of my favourite actors now as well.
He's great, isn't he?
He's brilliant. I mean, back then he wasn't really known. I didn't know him, but he'd been in Black Hawk Down and stuff like that. But that was his sort of breakthrough role with Bronson. But he's a fantastic actor, and I've been to premieres with him, and I've walked down the red carpet of Iron Man, which was a dream come true to walk down a proper Hollywood movie red carpet. It was amazing.
Because there's actually no reason why you shouldn't be doing stunts in films, fight sequences in films. Is it just? I mean, I was an actor for 20 years, and it is a really weird business, isn't it? Because it is about who you know and your agent and this, that, and the other, and. There's no reason why you shouldn't be snapped up and be put in that kind of tough guy thing. You could be in all these big movies.
Thank you. I mean, it's a hard thing to break into, like you said. I think something like out of every 500,000, you only get one person who makes it, or something like that. But it's I could play, like you said, the boxers, the fighters, tough guys, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I was going to ask about your boxing idols. Who would they be? People like, did you like Mike Tyson or people like that?
Yeah, Mike Tyson was my number one.
Yeah. Sort of similar style to you.
Well, that was
bobbing and weaving
and getting low. Yeah. Ricky English really got me to sort of practice that style and attacking, and that was my style. So Mike Tyson, I studied him religiously. I also like Holyfield. And
can I say, shared a stage with him?
Yeah.
In Peterborough.
I was so honoured to share a stage with him. Yeah, in Peterborough. I think you filmed that as well, Lee.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That was
that was Lee.
Yeah, Lee Nightingale.
That's it, Lee Nightingale. Shout out to you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Lee. I'm eternally grateful for that as well. Yeah. So just to be on stage with my hero was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So now, we've got final thing. We've got questions These are questions that subscribers of my channel have asked. Also, there's a few Facebook questions got through before for a few of these. But Colin Wood, he's asked you, he says, some fighters go backwards and end up in prison. What gave you the drive never to go back to prison? That's from Colin Wood.
Thank you, Colin, for the question. The drive for me not to go back to prison was mainly my children. And in fact, that was the reason I stopped doing the crime altogether, was my eldest son, Matthew Jr., he had got to the age where he would have known what I was doing. So as soon as he hit that age, I just stopped all the crime, even debt collecting. I just stopped. It was my children, yeah.
So that was the reason.
Yeah.
That was the reason.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Colin. And we've got Gavler, I think it's Gavler Hand, thinks you're a legend.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any fear for any of your fights? Or have you had any fear?
Fear before the fight?
Yeah.
Not fear, no, not fear, but nervousness. Yeah, you have to have nerves to get in a fight, because it gives you that extra bit of speed and a bit of. But I didn't have fear. It would be more. The Anthony Joshua fight was the most nervous, but even then it wasn't anything uncontrollable. It was just an extra bit of nerves.
Okay,
Thank you for the question, Gavler.
So Matty Howard, you suggested that he should have a cold bath in the mornings.
Yeah.
Is there an advantage in that? He swears by it. He said it's doing him a world of good.
The cold baths are really good for mental health,
Yeah.
for recovery, aches and pains, and they really invigorate you. I do them every day now for the last 4 months. Mm-hmm. And if you're feeling tired, 10 minutes in a cold bath, or five minutes if you want, in a cold bath, get out and you feel invigorated and just energised. And it helps you sleep, it helps your well-being. I can't recommend them enough. You've got to get used to it. It's hard initially.
But it is. Well, what kind of time are you doing that? Is it early in the morning?
I do them in the evening as well, but I normally do them, morning time.
Right, okay.
But they're really good.
Yeah, I'll work on that one.
Yeah.
James Rossiter, what is the most important change to make in training at the age of 45 compared to if you were 25?
As you get older, more injuries you've got, so you should really warm up more and stretch more, which I don't. I've got back injuries, knee injuries, everything. But I think just to lower your workload, not so heavy on the weights, and just listen to your body. Any little aches and pains, ease off, and just don't push too hard when you get over in your mid-40s. I'm 46 now, and I've got injuries everywhere, like fingers and knees, back, shoulders. So yeah, you just got to take it a bit easier. But work to what you can. Okay. Thank you, Jamie, for the question.
Rocky Rocastle. He's I don't know if he knows you. He says, "Do you miss the 3 trees in Bletchley?"
Oh, the fish. Yeah, that's some good nights in the 3 trees. Yeah, we should drink there. Yeah.
You're staying out of there at the moment.
Yeah, I'm staying away from the pubs now. Yeah.
Do you want to just encourage people to come down and have a session with you on?
Yeah. Anybody wants to train with me, let me know on Facebook. Come and do a one-on-one pad session, and I'll get you fit and strong. And just thank you to everyone for supporting, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be really grateful.
Fantastic. So that's Matt Legg. It's been a pleasure to be with him. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.